I stood beneath the warm cascade of water, letting it soak my hair and flow over my body. The tension in my muscles began to ease as they relaxed. I spotted a bottle of shampoo and washed my hair first. Nearby was a conditioner I'd never really used before, thinking it was just for women, but curious, and since it was available, I read the instructions and applied some. I left it in while using the shower gel on the rest of me. The scent was floral, lightly perfumed, definitely feminine. Still, I reminded myself, this was a house occupied by a single woman. Taking Mrs. Catherine's advice, I took my time rinsing off grime and sweat from the day's hard work. Eventually, I rinsed the conditioner from my hair, wrung it out, and opened the shower door. Water dripped into my half-closed eyes as I stepped out and fumbled for the bathrobe. Finding it, I slipped it on, grabbed a towel, and patted my face and hair dry. Catching my reflection in the slightly steamed mirror, I looked down at the robe. It was clearly a woman's. Plain white but soft and fluffy, it fell just below my calves. I shrugged and continued drying myself. Once the steam had cleared, I returned to my pile of clothes, only to find they'd been replaced with a neat stack. Picking up the first item, I realized it wasn't a shirt but a blouse, white cotton and feminine in style. Still wrapped in the bathrobe, I cracked open the door and called downstairs, "Mrs. Catherine." "Mrs. Catherine." She appeared at the top of the stairs moments later. "Yes, Noah?" "What is it?" she asked, concerned. "My clothes. They're not where I left them on the chair," I said, opening the door wider so she could see inside. "Oh yes, that's right. While you were showering, I took the liberty of putting those smelly, dirty clothes in the wash. You'll have them back tomorrow morning." "But, can't I have them now? I don't have anything else to wear." "You have something here, Noah. Didn't you see?" She peeked around the door, pointing to the chair. "These," I exclaimed, eyes wide. "But these are women's clothes. This is a blouse, not a shirt, and those are women's slacks." I gestured toward the black trousers. "Well, Noah dear, what else would I have in a house by myself? It'd be odd to have a wardrobe full of men's clothes, wouldn't it?" "Sure, but I didn't expect you to wash my clothes without asking, then just leave me women's clothes to wear. I'm sorry, maybe I should have asked first. But since you were showering, it seemed pointless for you to put dirty clothes back on. Try these, you'll see no one will notice. They're not too feminine." "Come on, you can't go home naked," she laughed. I realized then I'd have to wear these clothes not only for dinner but also for the walk home. Internally, I groaned but agreed and closed the door. Removing the bathrobe, I pulled the white blouse over my torso. Surprisingly, it fit well. Mrs. Catherine and I had similar builds. Buttoning it was awkward, the buttons fastened opposite from what I was used to, but eventually, I got it on. Next, I picked up the slacks and noticed another garment beneath, a pair of plain cotton panties. I groaned again. Mrs. Catherine had washed my underwear too. Not only was I embarrassed by having to wear women's clothes, but now annoyed that she'd handled my soiled underwear without asking. Putting on the panties felt odd. The cut was very different. The waistband sat higher than usual, and accommodating my anatomy was tricky. After adjusting, I pulled on the slacks, which also had a high waist and a much tighter fit than my usual trousers. I looked in the mirror. The clothes weren't masculine, but neither were they overtly feminine, just as Mrs. Catherine had said. Maybe she was right. I might get home in the evening without drawing too much attention. Opening the bathroom door, I found her near her bedroom. "That looks fine, Noah. See? Not so bad. Some of it feels strange. You'll get used to it, I'm sure. Now come here, I'll brush your hair again. I'm quite taken with that manner of yours." I blushed but walked over. Reluctantly, I hoped she'd only brush and not try styling it into a bun or something feminine again. The bun net was still in the bathroom, so I hoped she meant just a brush through. Sitting down, she carefully combed my hair, slowly removing tangles. She seemed to enjoy it, taking her time from roots to ends. "You really have beautiful hair, Noah. I bet many women envy you." I chuckled. Actually, Mrs. Catherine, Megan mentioned she thought you might have an issue with my hair. Why's that? She asked. Because she figured you might see me as scruffy or maybe even a bad sort of person because of it. Mrs. Catherine laughed. Oh no, not at all. I'm not that shallow. Maybe I'm a bit particular about appearances. When your hair was all over the place this morning, that was quite an eyesore. But after I put it up this afternoon, it looked nice. She finished gathering my hair at the back of my head, placing a brush down but still holding my hair. With a quick twist of her wrist, I felt a gentle tightening at the back of my head. There, that'll hold it in place while it dries naturally. What? I asked, turning to the mirror to see what she'd done. Oh, don't worry so much, Noah. It's just a butterfly clip to keep your hair off your face while it dries. No one will see it, and I'm not expecting you to leave with it in, she teased. She stepped back and let me stand. Following her down the stairs toward the kitchen, I caught my reflection in two opposing mirrors in the hallway. I stepped back and looked again, spotting the bright pink clip in my hair. I cringed in embarrassment. Back in the kitchen, Mrs. Catherine handed me a glass of wine. Here, she said, this might help you relax a bit. As you young folks say, chill out, right? She giggled. Then handed me a large knife. While you're standing there, you might as well help and chop these vegetables. I set to work slicing carrots, tomatoes, peppers, and then onions, which brought tears to my eyes. When I finished, she handed me a tissue to wipe my nose and dry my eyes. She poured the veggies into a hot pan and started cooking. About 10 minutes later, we sat down to eat. During dinner, Mrs. Catherine asked lots of questions about my family, friends, and school life. I repeated what I'd told Megan and her mother. She seemed genuinely interested in my background and future plans, which, honestly, were still very uncertain. She also asked about girlfriends and the type of girls I liked. Those questions felt a bit personal and uncomfortable, but she was gentle and skilled at drawing answers out. By the time we finished the main course, the wine bottle was empty. Without asking, she opened another and poured me a glass. Not used to alcohol, I felt my head growing woozy and my thoughts slowing. We had baked Alaska for dessert, then moved to the living room for more conversation and wine. About the dishes, I said, nodding toward the kitchen. Oh, leave those for now, Noah, she said. I'll tell you what, that can be your first task when you get here tomorrow morning. I groaned inwardly, me and my big mouth. I hated washing up, especially drying. My mother always tried to get me to help in the kitchen, and I'd always avoided it. Now this woman wanted me to do it all alone tomorrow. I watched her relax on the sofa, kicking off her shoes and stretching out. She lit a cigarette and blew smoke playfully into the air. Want one? No thanks. I don't smoke, I replied honestly. She smiled but didn't say anything. We watched each other as an awkward silence settled. Eventually, I broke it. Mrs. Catherine. Vivian, please, she interrupted. When you're not working for me, when you're my guest after a nice meal, call me Vivian. But tomorrow morning, say 9:30, it's Mrs. Catherine again. Can you keep business and pleasure separate, Noah? Sure, I think I can. Mrs. Sorry, Vivian. So, what were you going to say? Right, I was going to ask Vivian, I said, emphasizing her name like a new word. Do you ever get lonely living up here by yourself? Yes, of course. I have friends in the village and farther away. Some visit occasionally, but evenings alone can be very quiet. That's why it's been lovely having the company of a young man for dinner tonight. I smiled and blushed. The evening passed quickly. We drank more wine, then some fresh coffee. Around 10:30, the clock chimed and caught my attention. Oh my God, the time. I must go. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was so late. Oh, Noah, don't worry. Must you leave? Why not stay the night? I have spare rooms, and it's no trouble. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Catherine or Vivian, I'm sure Megan and her mother will worry if I'm not there tomorrow morning. And besides, You have a reputation to think of. She giggled at my concern, and I stumbled slightly toward the front door. Vivian followed me. As I opened the door, she called, "Noah, wait a moment." Turning, I faced her as she smiled and wrapped her arms around my neck. She drew my face close and kissed me firmly. The kiss was brief but passionate, stirring feelings I'd never experienced before. She pulled away suddenly, leaving me uncertain. Then, one hand moved to my head, undoing the hair clip. I felt embarrassed. "Don't want you going out like this, do we?" she smiled, planting a quick kiss on my cheek. "That's my thank you for a lovely evening. Now be back early tomorrow." With a wave, she sent me on my way toward the gate. By the time I walked home, it was quite dark, only the half-moon and the occasional lit window of a passing house gave any light. I arrived at Megan's place just after 11, noticing the front was dark. Quietly, I unlocked the door with my key, hoping not to wake anyone. Inside, though, I saw light coming from the back room. I crept quietly toward it, but as I closed the door behind me, I heard my name. "Noah, is that you?" Megan called. I made my way to the back room where she sat sewing at a table. "Oh, it's you. We were wondering where you got to tonight." "Oh, sorry, I thought Vivian, Mrs. Catherine, was going to call you. She made me dinner." Megan smirked. "Oh yeah, Vivian, her? Well, only after work hours," I said, sitting across from her. She gave me a puzzled look and asked, "What are you wearing, Noah? Is that a blouse?" I blushed and stammered, then explained how Vivian had found my clothes dirty and smelly and wanted me to wear something cleaner for dinner. Megan laughed softly and teased, "Next time, just ask before raiding my wardrobe, okay?" I smiled awkwardly, grateful when she eased off, sensing my embarrassment. "So, is she happy with your work? Think she'll keep you on for a while?" "It looks that way. She showed me the garden work this morning. It'll take 2 or 3 days. She also mentioned more jobs inside the house. In fact, she even wants me to do the washing up tomorrow," I blurted, instantly regretting the last part. Megan giggled. "So you're gardener and maid all in one." I looked hurt, and she playfully apologized across the table. I relaxed again, but the conversation soon dwindled, and I headed to bed. The next morning, I woke early, muscles sore from the previous day's work. Stretching, I saw a clear sky outside, another fine day ahead. After a quick wash and shave, I dressed and headed downstairs for breakfast. Vivian's clothes were neatly folded on the chair where I'd left them. For a moment, I wondered if she expected me to wear them again, but I decided against it, opting for a t-shirt and my other pair of jeans. Around 8, I found Megan and her mother still eating at the table. "Hi, Noah," Megan called cheerfully. I greeted them and grabbed some cereal. Megan noted, "Looks like you changed from last night." I blushed, glanced at her mother, and hoped Megan hadn't mentioned the blouse and slacks. "Yeah, thought these would be better for gardening," I said casually. Megan nodded. "Probably a good call." Before leaving, I carefully placed Vivian's clothes in a carrier bag and set off around 9. Now familiar with the way, I reached the house after about 25 minutes. I knocked at the large door, and Vivian answered with a warm smile. She wore a light, flowing summer dress with short sleeves, her hair styled just like the day before, just as beautiful. I handed her the bag. "Here are your clothes from last night." "Oh, thanks. Didn't want to wear them again this morning, then?" "No, not in daylight. I had clean clothes in my room," I said, spreading my arms. She laughed. "Not quite as elegant, though, are they?" Not aiming for elegance, I kept quiet. "Well, now you're here, you might as well get started." "Sure. What should I do first?" "Forgot already. First up is washing and drying last night's dishes. Then there's ironing your clothes, some of my blouses, and a few knickknacks. After that, back to the garden." "Ironing? But I don't know how. My mom always." "Oh dear, Noah. You'll learn this morning. Didn't you say you could do anything?" "I did, but not domestic stuff. Well, it'll pay your wages. Come on, get moving. You know where the kitchen is. Oh, and make me a pot of fresh coffee at 10:30. Bring it to the study, I'm working and need a pick-me-up. With that, she turned and strode off down the hall. I stepped into the kitchen and saw the pile of dishes waiting. Nothing had been soaked overnight, and dried-on food made the job tougher. I wondered why a woman like Vivian, living alone, didn't have a dishwasher. With her immaculate hands and nails, I couldn't imagine her doing the washing up herself. I ran hot water into the sink and let some plates soak while setting up the ironing board. I gathered the pile of clothes, my jeans, t-shirt, and underwear from the day before, along with 2 of Vivian's blouses, a pair of slacks, a cotton skirt, and some of her panties. I groaned at the unexpected workload. Turning back to the sink, I began washing up, just as Vivian walked into the kitchen. Oh Noah, I forgot to mention, when working in the kitchen, I insist that long hair is kept out of the way. Come sit in this chair for a moment, and I'll help you with it. I shook the suds from my hands and sat as she moved behind me. I'm going to do the same as yesterday, it keeps things simple. Keep hold of this bun net and you can do it yourself next time. I don't want to keep reminding you about your hair. I felt her gather my hair at the back, smoothing it from front to back, pulling it taut. After a few twists, she wrapped the elastic net around it and released. I stood and headed back to the sink when she added, "One more thing, though you're probably wearing clean clothes, I prefer staff wear an apron in the kitchen. It protects both your clothes and the surfaces. Here." She opened a cupboard and pulled out a folded white garment. "Turn around, I'll help you put it on." I hesitated to protest but realized it was futile, so I turned with a slight sigh. "Just slip your head through this loop, that's right." I felt her tie it at the back. Looking down, I saw a traditional maid's apron, frilly, embroidered, and pure white. "Oh no, Vivian." "Noah, it's Mrs. Catherine during work hours, remember? I told you last night to separate business and pleasure." "Sorry, Mrs. Catherine, but do I really have to wear this? It looks ridiculous. Can't I just put on the clean clothes you washed for me yesterday?" "But they're not ironed, Noah. You know I insist on neatness. Besides, you don't want to ruin freshly washed clothes again, do you?" I shook my head, realizing it was better to agree than argue. "Good. Now carry on and don't forget my coffee. I'll check the ironing when you finish." She left, and I began washing up, feeling terribly self-conscious in the apron. I wondered what Megan would say if she saw me now. Maybe her joke about me being gardener and maid was becoming true. I finished washing and drying just before 10:15, then remembered Vivian's coffee. At least I knew how to make good coffee. After about 10 minutes, I poured a cup, placed it on a saucer, and wondered if she took milk or cream. I decided to ask when I brought it. Carrying the tray, I entered the study. "You're late," she said sternly without looking up, her head buried in papers. "Put it on the table by the window." I saw the table and moved toward it. Suddenly, Vivian called out, "Oh no, Noah." "What?" I spun around, spilling some coffee onto the saucer. "Really, Noah? You don't know much about serving, do you? Listen carefully, you always bring coffee in a pot, with the cup and saucer empty and the cup upside down. Sugar should be in a bowl, milk or cream in a jug. And everything carried on a silver tray. Got it? And don't spill anything. Now go back and try again." Frustrated, I hurried back to the kitchen, arranged everything properly, and returned moments later. She sat by the window. "Ah, much better, Noah. Thank you. Have you finished washing and ironing yet?" "No, I've done the washing but haven't started ironing." "Oh dear. Well, you'd better get to it. Don't take too long, I need my bed made, then you can get back to the garden." She sipped her coffee. "Anything else, Noah?" "No." "All right then, you can go." Back in the kitchen, I started ironing my t-shirt, figuring it was better to mess up my own clothes than Vivian's. Struggling to lay it properly on the board, I grew more frustrated. This definitely wasn't what I'd imagined when I started working for Mrs. Catherine. She'd seemed so friendly last night, but now it felt like she was determined to humiliate me. After 15 minutes, I finished the t-shirt reasonably well and moved on to my jeans, which were easier. Then I reached my underwear, shook them out, and folded them. No one irons underclothes, I told myself. Next, I tackled Vivian's clothes, starting with her underwear, which I shook and folded as well, adding them to the finished pile. The stack of clothes needing ironing was shrinking rapidly. I had just finished Vivian's slacks when she entered the kitchen. Still at it, Noah? My, you're a bit slow, aren't you? Well, as I said before, I've never done this before, Mrs. Catherine. I can tell, Noah. Look at my panties, those barely look touched. I blushed. Well, I didn't actually. I mean, underwear, surely not. I thought not. Now, when I ask you to do something, I expect you to follow instructions properly. The rest looks all right. But you definitely need to practice and build up some speed. I'll stand here and watch before you massacre my delicate blouses. With Vivian watching and critiquing every move, it was even harder to concentrate. I wanted to ask why she didn't just show me how to do it, but she never offered, and I figured I'd be shot down if I asked. After half an hour of instruction and criticism, I finally finished the last blouse. Vivian showed me where to hang the garments and then told me to make her bed. She observed closely and found faults, even though I thought I knew how to make a bed, corners not tucked enough, sheets not smooth. When she was finally satisfied, I stretched my aching back, feeling as tired as after a day in the garden. It's 11:45, Vivian announced. You might as well stop for lunch at noon. Then you can tackle the garden this afternoon. I assume you can make a salad like yesterday? I nodded, and we went downstairs. I prepared the salad and cold meats while Vivian helped by opening a wine bottle and setting plates and cutlery on the patio. When I finished, I followed her outside and set the table. Sitting opposite, she smiled. Thank you, Noah. You can rest now. We ate quietly, Vivian basking in the sun, enjoying her food and wine. I just wanted to hide my feelings of embarrassment. After a while, she turned to me. You didn't mind doing housework this morning, did you? I had so much writing to do, and I thought you'd be glad to help. I sighed and took a sip of wine before answering. It's not the work, Mrs. Catherine. It's wearing this silly apron and having my hair up like this. I just feel ridiculous. Oh Noah, not again. You really don't need to worry about how you look when you're with me. No one else is here, right? She paused for my reply. I shook my head. Well then, what's the problem? It just feels unnecessary. No, Noah. That's where you're wrong. Like I said, long hair must be tied up in the kitchen for hygiene, and so must the apron. If I had a masculine apron, I'd let you wear it. Now, you wouldn't complain if I had a girl working in the kitchen, would you? No, but. No buts, Noah. One rule applies to all. That's fair. You wanted long hair, and it looks lovely, but if you want to work for me, you must follow the rules. Understand? I nodded. Good. Now, after lunch, wash the dishes and start in the garden, okay? She smiled. I nodded again. Would you like to stay for dinner tonight? No, thanks. I really enjoyed last night, but I should head back to Megan's. This isn't because you're upset with me, maybe about this morning? No, it's not. I'm disappointed. I thought we were getting along. We are. I like your company, Mrs. Catherine. Oh Noah, it wasn't the little kiss last night, was it? I hope I didn't scare you. It was just the wine, silly me. No, really, it's not about last night or this morning. I just need to get back earlier. All right, Noah. I can't force you. But I'm disappointed. Now go on, start your duties. I'll check on you later. With that, she walked back inside. I sighed with relief. I hadn't wanted to stay tonight, not after how she treated me this morning, which left me resentful. And that kiss from last night scared me. I wasn't sure what she expected. Maybe she was drunk and meant nothing, but I wasn't certain. Within 20 minutes, I finished washing and drying lunch dishes, took off the apron, and headed outside. I completed the rockery within an hour and then started repairing the back fence. Around 4 p.m., I paused to survey what remained. The morning's events had delayed me considerably. At this rate, it might take a week or more to finish. Vivian came out around 5 p.m. to inspect. She praised the rockery and fence repairs and noted she was glad I kept my hair in the bun. Honestly, I'd thought about removing it when I took off the apron but remembered how much cooler I felt with it up, so I swallowed my embarrassment and left it as it was. I finished work around 6:15. Vivian tried again to persuade me to stay for dinner, but I was firm in my decision. She also asked if I wanted to shower in her bathroom again, but I declined, earning a light rebuke. I packed up the clothes I'd ironed that morning and left the house around 6:25. Be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, she called as I walked down the path. I groaned inwardly. She wanted me to start even earlier, and I wondered what else she had planned for me. I got back to my place around 7 o'clock after a slow walk along country roads. I showered, shaved, and got ready to head into town by 7:30. I'd hoped Megan might join me for dinner again at the diner, but her mother told me she was at a friend's house. So I walked into town alone and settled in the diner. While eating, I replayed the past few days in my mind. Mrs. Catherine wasn't what I expected at all. I wondered if I'd upset her by refusing to eat with her that evening. Watching couples and groups laugh and talk around me, I started thinking maybe eating with Vivian was better than being alone. By 9:30, dusk had fallen as I returned to the bedsit. I found Vivian and Megan talking in the living room and joined them, taking a spare chair. "And how's our hard-working gardener this evening?" Megan asked. "Fairly tired," I replied. "Busy again, huh? How long before you finish there? Another lady from the salon might be interested in you next." "I think it'll be a few more days. Mrs. Catherine found more work for me today that wasn't on the original list." "Oh, like what?" Megan asked playfully. "Just a few extra garden repairs and some painting," I lied. "I'm pretty tired myself," Megan said. "I'll have an early night tonight." "Oh, Megan. I wanted to ask you a favor." "Sure, what's that?" "Could you show me how to iron? I've never done it before, and I don't really know how." Megan giggled. "Is that all? Just leave it in the kitchen, Mom will do it for you. Men, right? Fresh out of your parents' house, and the first thing you learn is no one's doing your ironing." Well, actually, I was hoping and expecting to do it myself. I just need someone to show me how. "Really? You want to learn?" "Yes, honestly. I have a few things upstairs." "You mean now? It's bedtime. Can't it wait?" "Well, Mrs. Catherine is a stickler for neatness, like you said, and I need these ironed tonight for tomorrow." Okay. Go get them, but be quick." "I'm surprised she didn't tell you to cut your hair if she cares so much about neatness." I didn't reply and ran upstairs. I grabbed the clothes I'd ironed earlier, purposely wrinkling them to create creases. Back downstairs, I found Megan had set up an iron and board in the kitchen. She took the t-shirt and jeans from me, shook them out, and said, "These aren't bad. Fold them neatly tonight, and they'll be fine for tomorrow. Please, Megan, if you could just show me, then I can do it myself next time." "Okay. It's funny, a guy who actually wants to iron. You'd make a lucky woman a great house husband someday." She giggled, then quickly showed me how to iron the t-shirt and jeans, checking that I understood. I said I did, then asked, "What about something trickier than a t-shirt?" "Like what?" "Like a shirt, or a woman's blouse. I don't have any shirts upstairs." "Well, you don't have to worry about that then." "No, but just hypothetically, while I'm learning." "Oh, Noah," she yawned, "it's well past 10. Please, just while we're here." "Okay." Megan quickly found a blouse and showed me how to iron it. I watched carefully. "And underwear?" I asked as she hung the blouse. "Underwear? Noah, I think you have a problem if you want to start ironing your underpants. Come on, let's put this away and get to bed. I've got a long day tomorrow and I'm tired. I relented, helped put away the iron and board, and headed to bed. As I undressed, I looked in the mirror, pulling my hair back from my face and lifting it off my shoulders. I noticed how much it exposed my features, and mockingly turned my head to the side, pouting like a model on a photo shoot. I went to sleep, dreaming of Vivian and Megan. The next morning I woke around 8:15, realizing groggily that I was late for Vivian's by 9 o'clock. I jumped out of bed, washed quickly, and grabbed some bread and jam to eat on the way. I arrived at Vivian's house just on time, slightly out of breath. She opened the door and said, "My, you look sleepy and hot this morning. Have you been running?" "Yes, got up late. Sorry." She brushed her hand against the side of my face. "Yuck, and you haven't shaved either, have you?" "No, not this morning. Didn't have time. But I did shave last night," I replied, a bit annoyed. Well, I'd prefer you to shave before coming here next time, Noah. I don't like this designer stubble look, it's just an excuse for scruffiness. Now, about work. There are some indoor tasks before the garden again, like yesterday if you don't mind, she added sarcastically. I said I didn't mind. Good. So, there's a bit of washing up from last night and this morning, not much, since I was alone, she emphasized, clearly trying to make me feel guilty. Then more ironing, my bed to make, and some dusting and vacuuming upstairs. You should finish all that before lunch. Clear. Oh, and coffee at 10 o'clock in the study, please. Don't forget anything I told you yesterday. I headed to the kitchen and paused. Vivian was watching me from across the room. I turned and spotted the white cotton apron folded neatly on the table, obviously for me. I slipped it on and tied it around my back. Then I noticed the bun net on the table. Trying to secure my hair into it like Vivian had done the past 2 days, I struggled, working blind behind my head. I failed repeatedly. After the 4th try, my arms ached, frustration mounting. I tossed the net onto the table just as Vivian entered. "Oh Noah, you're really getting tangled up with that hair, aren't you? Here, try a ponytail today, just until you get the bun right on your own. Do you know how to do a ponytail?" I shook my head. "Let me show you." She held out a pink scrunchie and demonstrated on her own hair how to gather it, wrap the scrunchie, twist it, and pull through the loop. She handed it to me to try. My first attempt was close but not quite up to her standards, loose strands at front, sides, and back. The second attempt went much better. Smoothing my hair tighter before securing the scrunchie made all the difference. Vivian was pleased and left me to work. As I turned toward the sink, the ponytail swished behind me. The feeling of my hair moving as a mass was new and sparked a strange, tingling excitement inside me, like my hair was standing on end. I quickly finished the washing up and approached the small ironing pile with newfound confidence, thanks to Megan's lessons the night before. The clothes included 3 blouses, 2 pairs of slacks, 2 skirts, panties, and 3 bras. So much for just a few things, I thought. I'd finished the blouses, slacks, and 1 skirt when Vivian returned to inspect. "My, Noah, you've improved fast. How? Did you get lessons?" "You did, didn't you? Asked someone last night?" My blush gave me away. "Wow, that's clever and dedicated of you. I'm very pleased. Keep that up and you'll do well in any service role. Now, I know I said you could wear a ponytail, but I found this upstairs and thought you could use it too." She held out a large hair clip. "This will keep your hair out of the way, and we'll both be happy, right?" She explained the clip mechanism: squeeze opposite the hinge to open, then release to secure. Standing behind me, she twisted my ponytail to the top of my crown and clipped it in place. It pulled slightly, less comfortable than the ponytail, and later I missed the free swish of my hair. I finished ironing shortly after, then hung the clothes upstairs where Vivian had shown me. Next, I made her bed a king size with an array of pillows and a quilt. The pale pink undersheet and pillowcases complemented the patterned quilt, depicting forests in reds, browns, greens, and off-white. Satisfied I'd met her perfectionist standards, I returned downstairs and made her coffee. I served it in the study exactly as instructed. Vivian expressed how pleased she was with my progress and let me continue. I returned upstairs with the vacuum and dusters, tackling the main bedroom. Carefully removing ornaments, I dusted surfaces before vacuuming thoroughly. As I worked, my mind drifted to silly thoughts until I caught my reflection in the mirrored closet door. I paused and studied myself, surprised. With the apron hiding some of my frame and the hair clipped up, I saw how feminine I looked. Though my shape remained masculine, the apron's contours suggested chests around my chest. Turning side to side, then facing the mirror squarely again, I felt a strange mix of embarrassment and excitement. A faint excitement stirred inside me, accompanied by a twinge of guilt. Suddenly, I noticed another reflection, Vivian, standing quietly by the door. I spun around, flushed with humiliation. I was just finishing up the room, Anne. That's all right, Noah. Looks like you've done a very good job. Thank you. I wasn't. I mean, what is it, Noah? What's wrong? What are you trying to say? Nothing, it's fine. I'll get started on the other rooms now. I picked up the vacuum and dusters and headed toward the door. Vivian didn't move aside. I stopped, facing her, my breath growing shallow and quick, feeling more intimidated by her presence. What's wrong, Noah? You seem a little agitated. You can tell me, you know. She looked at me, waiting. Nothing, really. I've got a lot to do. I tried to walk past, but she blocked me with one arm leaning against the doorframe. Noah, I just want to say I hope you'll join me for dinner tonight. I sighed. I don't. Please, Noah, she interrupted. No excuses tonight. I think you want to stay too. Everything will be fine, and I have something to celebrate. What's that? The story I'm writing, I've made a major breakthrough with the plot. From now until the end, it'll be smooth sailing. I'll let you read it when I'm done, if you want. Thanks. I didn't know you were writing a story. Yeah, I'd like that. What's it about? Oh, I can't tell you, that would spoil the surprise, wouldn't it? I guess so. All right, so you'll stay tonight? You have to say yes if you want to pass. She teased, but there was seriousness in her eyes. Unsure, I relented. Yes. I'll stay for dinner. Thanks. Now, can I get back to cleaning? Sure, Noah. I'll help with lunch, and after gardening this afternoon, you can help with dinner. Sound fair? I nodded as she raised her arm to let me pass. I finished cleaning without interruption. By the time I came downstairs, lunch was nearly ready, with Vivian having prepared most of it. I helped her finish, and we sat outside in the garden. This time, I took off my apron before sitting. Vivian smiled slightly but said nothing. We ate mostly in silence, though her eyes rarely left me. It made me self-conscious. I wished she'd say what was on her mind. Still, the hot, humid weather made it pleasant to sit in the sun and relax. I knew the afternoon's garden work would be exhausting. After lunch, without a word, I put the apron back on, gathered dirty dishes, and washed up. Then I returned to the garden, starting fence repairs followed by painting. Vivian surprised me by staying outside all afternoon, sitting on the patio with sunglasses, soaking up the sun. She never picked up a book or magazine. I couldn't tell if she was awake or asleep, but her eyes seemed to follow me wherever I went. As expected, working outdoors was tiring. Sweat coated me, dripping uncomfortably. I removed my t-shirt and continued working bare-chested under the harsh sun. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.